for a pardon. They want to avoid the possibility of deportation that could involve about 750,000 so-called dreamers protected under an executive order that could be reversed under President-elect Trump. There are mayors in sanctuary cities coast to coast vowing to protect these undocumented residents. And former House Speaker Newt Gingrich has the following suggestion for the third week in January.
This is madness. So my advice to President-elect Trump is pretty simple. One, you should ask your new Attorney General on day one to direct immigration efforts right into the sanctuary cities. Two, you should indicate any mayor who attempts to interpose. And three, you should ask the Congress immediately, as one of its first items, to pass legislation authorizing cutting off all federal aid. Now, let's see how long Chicagoans like the idea that every penny of federal aid to Chicago is cut off.
Well, that's the money. Stephen Dinan, political editor for the Washington Times on the Hill. And Stephen, good morning to you and welcome back here to America's Newsroom. Why don't we start there with Gingrich's point? Go after the money. What do you think about that?
Well, look, there's ironically enough, President Obama's actually already set that up. Loretta Lynch, the Attorney General, issued a letter earlier this year saying that they already have the authority to deny some grants, some of the Justice Department grants, to these sanctuary cities. Now, this administration hasn't pulled the trigger on that, but that's a tool sitting there on day one for the next Attorney General to use. And obviously, President-elect Trump has said that he would go after sanctuary cities. So I expect to see something like that very early on. You know, in particular, obviously we'll wait and see who that Attorney General might be, but there are a number of these Republican senators here on Capitol Hill who are being talked about as a potential Attorney General. They've actually already called for the President Obama to use those exact tools. So if they become the Attorney General, they know exactly how to do what Speaker Gingrich was talking about.
Maybe we're getting too far ahead of the story. We don't know what Trump's going to do. I mean, would you expect him to reverse the order that could affect 750,000 people?
Well, that's different. I do expect him to go after sanctuary cities. I think he's been fairly clear about that. He's been less clear about what he will do with, as you referred to them, the dreamers, those 750,000. These are the most sympathetic cases out there. These are the children who, by and large, were brought here by their parents. They had no say in the decision. They're the sympathetic cases. It's unclear to me what a President Trump would do with them. The broader population, I do expect that, he told us this weekend he will begin some deportations. He listed this 3 million number, which is a lot less than the all of them have to go that he said during the campaign. But yeah, I do think, as we said, that's a really tough crew. They are, most of them, those 750,000, they're here on a 2-year permit right now, a renewable 2-year permit. One easy solution for the president would be to say, we're not going to renew it. You can continue to serve out that 2 years, and then we'll see what we do with Congress in the meantime.
Because what his comment was the other night, and I think this is very important, Stephen, he said control the border, and then they'll go after criminal illegal immigrants. That was 1 and 1A in that interview.
Yeah, now it's also worth noting that is essentially what President Obama says he's doing right now. So at least, from the rhetoric, that's the Obama position. We're already going after the criminals. We're deporting, a couple 100,000 of them a year, and he's taken efforts to secure the border. In fact, border crossings, they're up in the last year or two, but they are much lower than they were a decade ago. So President Obama would say he's already done much of that. President-elect Trump says a lot more needs to be done. In some ways, this is all sort of posturing, and the real tough question is what you do at the end of that, what you do about the 8 million who you don't try and deport, what happens to them after you get that border secured.
Stephen, thanks for coming in today. Analysis there from the Hill. Stephen Dinan, thank you, sir, and it's good to see you again. 9 minutes past the hour. So we'll see how many of these executive orders are flipped, right? I mean, it's...
Got a pen and a phone. That goes both ways, right?
So
Got
the ink.